remained faithful, and we have lived to see another year. While we face the continued uncertainties of the day, we are constantly assured of God's everlasting love and faithfulness to us. God reminds us in Deuteronomy 31, verse 6, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you."
Like the woman at the well, I was seeking for things that could not satisfy. And then I heard my Savior speaking, draw from my well, never shall I fill my cup. I lifted up, Lord, come and quench the thirsting of my soul. Rid There are millions in this world who are craving the pleasures earthly things support, but none can match the wondrous treasures that are found in Jesus Christ, my Lord. Fill my I lifted up, Lord, come and quench this mercy of my soul. Bread of heaven, lead me till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole. So my brother, if the things this world gave you, leave hungers that will pass away. My blessed Lord will come and save you if you kneel to Him and humbly pray. Fill my cup, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsty of my soul. Till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole. In my cup, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsting of my soul. Fill me till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me
So you don't know I'm no strangers this week. No strangers. This morning, I went to church early, got up and never late. I sat up there and I looked at St. John's and I said, look at this church. Where all my nieces and nephews were christened. They married right or something. Put my kids up in yourself. And when you come to St. John's, it's home. Yeah. I worship at the St. John's, Sabbath and St. John's.
Honey, I've heard so many people talk about St. John's. They look around and they join your church also. Say my and they know. My mother is 97. Yes, Celestina Davis, Mount Sharp It's not for the tour, she was there having her bath and the lady had lotion around. I'm just we're thankful that people are looking after home. Yes. And we're not there. It's okay. Let's hear that. Amen. Come on, I was thinking it sometimes. And I said to her, Mr. Celestina, you look goody? She said, Lord, yeah. I said, Mama, you look goody? She said, Lord, yeah. I said, I'm still in Pastor, man. I said, I'm going down to St. John's this morning. She said, where are you going to go? I said, okay, here now. And she said, all right, God be with you. And I said, thank you, Lord. So blessings, my brothers and sisters. Blessings. Women marching for Jesus. When you have a march, right? And those who know Mary, don't always walk in that banana. When you have march for Jesus, when you have a march, you have to make sure they're ready. Yes, sir. Go on. Oh, yeah. Come on, go on. Okay, so yeah. Come on, go. Don't worry about this. I was small before the man. I can't walk on the without the man of Japan. This is our last time. So the challenge to the man coming to talk about so we are soldiers. Because when you go march, you are a soldier, you become a soldier. And I deliberately chose this bag. It's a black bag that shows strength. Yeah? And we have to make sure that whatever was packed in, it shows strength. Yeah. So guess what? You got to march. And you can't just give up on the march. So we have to prepare ourselves. We have to prepare ourselves. And I'm going to be asking you to sing that part of that song again that says, Fill my cup, Lord. And while you are singing that song, you're going to take out. And June and I, St. John and I, never stand that part. Fill my cup, Lord. Is there a message? Never more. They have a ceramic cup. And we have a tiny one they call Demitas. The choice is yours as people of Christ. Which one you want that to do? And what you're going to report of it each day to nourish your body before you say you're going to take on marching. You see, when you walk into church in the mornings, when you're driving to church, people are watching, or we are marched by Jesus. No, but then look at us and say, put that day for the devil. Every morning she come by herself. Every morning I come himself out of church. And look at how they behave at the workplace. Look how much power they speak, how much time they come the road and magic time. Look how much so and so and so. When you're marching for Jesus, on the march for Jesus, we have to think of the traits that Jesus has. So this is one time we're going to go around the corner and come on a bit. Yeah? We have to remember that we're marching for Jesus and we pour out our hearts and we pray and pray for the nation. A second prodigal talk about things can happen. How much of us are not marching for Jesus because we pray? How much of us are limiting him to give him a little cup to pull? Because only this we can manage. Only this we can manage to drink because we come from the area and not down one, everybody are kind of diet. So God will say, fill me up, Lord. It's a little bit, just we can manage. Or I'm going to ask him, take out in and home and fill you with grace. Yes? Fill me up, Lord, with positive things. So when I march, when I walk out, people know say, yeah, I got it. Amen. Fill me up, Lord. And John starts on it. We start that first one. Everybody, fill my cup, Lord. We're not living to our God. Yeah? Someone practice some of this. So we have to do this. Yes. Yes. And the journey that we take. on here. I tell you God is moving in this place. And the little strip of paper on this cup says, as soon as you are awake, invite God into your life to order your steps. Because if you have a match with Jesus, you have to ask him to show you what you want to do. Yeah? And it's not time to get up and sing a song, move Satan, move the past. No, we're not going to. We're going to ask God, show me where you are. There are times when I ask him what I'm advising to God. Because when I ask him what we run ahead of him and do nothing, touch it for a while. If you're going to march for Jesus, if you're going to move around for Jesus, ask him to order your steps. So morning time when you get up, sometimes I saw some meat, sometimes I like a mint, sometimes I like a thirsty, sometimes I like a hot chocolate, sometimes I like a lemon and hot water, excellent too, sometimes I like a hot money juice. Whatever you sip, make sure it is something that is going to nourish you. Yeah? So you're going to sip some forgiveness. Because if you have a march, you can carry everything to you. It might not be some rabbit cup, it might be a monk. Yeah? Let us see what this monk has to say. And this one says, make peace with the past so it won't screw up the present. Before we start marching, ask God, God, you see that we have us also. You see something that feel good about us also. God, we need to clean you. Because you can't march with baggage. Yeah? We can't march and we can't come to church and behave as if all is well. I remember one day I was at a church service many years ago. Many years ago. It was a funeral and they were singing It Was Well With My Soul. And John Davis would have stopped there, sing man, just Papa was here, it was Papa sing, he was only the person at the family could have sing. And every time I sing television, so I was at church, but Papa was not there, so I bellowed, It Is Well With My Soul. And the Lord said to me, said, John, where is your soul? I'm going to hear now. I mean, I sing It Is Well With My Soul, and he kept saying, it is not well with your soul. And I stepped out of the people's church and stood on the landing. And God pointed out before me, right there and then, how much things we have in my heart and one as a whole. How much things we need to vomit out on him, and we go like a tooth. How much people say, we don't really manage them, I'm ready now to talk to them, spiritual something. He pointed out all of those things. And I stood out there until the funeral was completed, service done, and God said to me, say, it's a clean up, not to ask me what you are saying. It is well with my soul. If you have a march for Jesus, remember, it talks about animosity. There's a part in Proverbs that talks about 6 things that God hates and 7 that He detests. If we're going to march for Jesus, there are some things that we cannot afford to carry in our strong bag. So guess what? You see this? It's called like a fun break. In a summer weekend. Yeah? If we're going to march for Jesus, we have to clear the way first. Yeah? So we have to clear the way because each of these represent different things. And one says here, get rid of bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ, God, forgave you. Ephesians 4:31. It's a one big little sin in a way. You can't march and you are not here. You can't march and have people because it's not stumbling block in a way. You can't march and think that you are the only person who can get every single thing right. We're going to try, we're going to turn out like Nebuchadnezzar. Remember that man in that? Nebuchadnezzar was a king who put Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. But there was another part of Nebuchadnezzar who was on both happy brother. And what God did, he know before that, he thought that everything good came from him. He never acknowledged Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He never acknowledged our God. So when we are marching, we have our ego before us. We're black here. We're not ready to march for Jesus. And what God did, he sent Nebuchadnezzar to a bush to eat grass for 7 years. We stay up there, trying to make God put on the grass for 7 years. Regardless of what is happening with COVID, God is God. God wants our attention. He wants our attention in St. John's. He wants our attention at Webster. He wants our attention at our yard. He wants it over the door. He wants it in workplace. He wants our can march with it. What is your posture like when you're marching for Jesus? And that's serious thing I'm asking about. Yeah? Another stumbling block here says, reject toxic people, gossip, negative issues, negative thoughts or things associated with people with qualities like the ego. If you mix up with people who only carry bad news, how you going to march with Jesus? It's not going to give me a win. Yeah? There are some news I don't listen to. I don't listen to certain things about COVID. Because for me, COVID is here to stay. It's just like everything, everybody died in Jamaica now is dying of COVID. One of them from Africa, one of them from diabetes. Everything. And this morning I said to, I don't know nurse I was saying it outside. Or not from somebody else. And I said to them, everything that happened at their COVID. And if you know the Jamaican term, I said, all fish near river bottom and near man, a shark will get you liquid. All fish near river bottom and near man, but a shark will get you liquid. Oh, you know what I mean? And you must realize, we have to be careful. But remember what Ephesians 6 verse 10 this morning. We're not fighting against the shadow alone. Things in high places. And when Satan wants to trap you, when Satan wants to put up a block for you, so you can't mark to Jesus, he's not going to drive up here, he's not going to drive you. He's going to drive up here. Now, people of Christ, you're going to be marching out there, you're going to be confident, yes? But you're also going to be very careful. So some people can't afford to listen to them. Some people can't afford to keep their company. You have to reject certain toxic people. There's a term that I use with my students all the while. When you're about to give birth to certain ideas, don't invite some people in the living room. Not kill it. When you have certain grand ideas, don't share it with some people because their brain can't manage it. And that can be a big stumbling block in your way. Yeah? Move with the eagle man. Move with people with eagle-like qualities. And remember, the eagle is one bird that flies extremely high. And which bird follows the eagle? Right up in the neck back. Dragon. The eagle soars and the dragon sits in the eagle's neck and peck on the eagle. You are going to find people are going to be in your way a stumbling block. But what does the eagle do? The eagle flies higher and higher because the dragon can't take the hands. Then they drop off. So you can take for yourself. So if you're marching for Jesus, how you behave at home when there's nobody watching you? How you behave at the shop when you go and the man mistake and they give you back extra money? You say, Jesus provide for me today? And then next Monday, like Sunday morning, you dress up from a church, you know, and say, we're going to be on TV, we give you extra money then and then what you say to that give back? But you come to church and say, Lord, I'm here, use me and make me after that. Keep them at church. Cower. So you must know what is it. Yeah? You must be lifting people with you. Yeah? You must be lifting persons with positivity. Your actions and everything. Another block here that says, take out the stopping block there. Do not let unwholesome talk out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs. Some of us know some things a little more than some. Yeah? Instead of tearing down people, you're marching for Jesus. You don't want to march. You must want to happen. You need to care about persons with you. So in so doing, you're going to uplift, you're going to empower others. You see these young children who are studying online now? How many of us older people empowering them? How many of you praying over the instruments that they use online? How many of you know that the conduct of the industry where the sex and the dirtiness take place is on the rise? Because our children are watching it more than ever. I worked with a school the other day, and one of the guidance counselor said to me, prominent high school looking stuff. And she said, Miss Davidson, I have a group of grade 7 boys working with. And almost every boy confessed to the class that they are hooked on pornography. They are hooked on anything sexual. Yeah? Homosexuality, lesbianism, some of the girls, they know their friends in different primary school because they said, what is happening? Parents said to them, go to the internet, go to your homework. the heaven and the earth is an untapped God. So we have to look into ourselves. So we must also show by example to the young ones what is supposed to happen. Last block here, so it says, unclutter your life. Clear the clutter from your house, your car, your desk, your kitchen, and your mind. This will allow positive energy to soar through. If you are marching for Christ and you have negative energy in your head, in your body, how you do? Why not? Say, we are working now. You still have something. I'm going to do something. So we're picking them there. Oh, you don't have college. Hey, come on, you got some thanks, man. See, I'm still employed. You see the other day when we looking at it in my salary? I was online. I'm going to call my friend. I said to the friend, I said, let me some money. They said, oh, what? She said, well, you can't take it right now. But we said, well, I'll check something first. And I was there late night and I went online. So about a week ago. I want to go so quick. This is something on my phone. I said, well, you get paid? I'm going to call somebody else on my phone. He said, yo, you get paid? He said, you get paid. We're the one institution so far that get paid. You know what I mean? Look up on me. Look up on me, go tell my thanks. Look up on me, go tell my thanks. I said to one of my colleagues, I said, boy, it's so good all during the pandemic, you have been paid at the night hall. And she said to me, hey, I'm not on the night hall pay, I'm ministry. He said, thanks, son. That kind of energy they don't need around you. I said, the ministry, we make up the ministry. But the ministry not have the money to give us. So in every single solitary thing, you need to find something if you're marching for Jesus. Your posture of thankfulness must be seen. Yeah? Your posture to say, God, you're a good God. The posture that every time you open your mouth, you're praising God. One of my students said to me one day at Bible, she said, Miss, we're glad I graduated, okay. I said, but why are you so excited? I said, Miss, know that I graduated, people can't stop, slide on wine. Can't slide on wine. I said, what is slide on wine? I said, I'm not putting out water. I said, let me put it in the dumpling or something. Oh, I said, okay, slide on wine. So it's for years that I eat slide on wine. And then constipated. Can you imagine if I have a bite of vegetable now? Wow. She's giving thanks for that. She never asked where she was coming from. Yes? So if you are marching for Jesus, when you get up at morning time and your eyes open, yeah? When you can't find the girl in the question of some water and drink the pressure, you got time. When you can't go pick to source of being and pour it in the hot water, the calm and sit down to your bed, give thanks. When you're allowed to come in at the sanctuary like this, to sit and worship, give thanks. Give thanks. If we don't, these are going to be serious stumbling blocks in our way. And if we are marching for Jesus, we have to get them out. You see that piece of body? Which part of the body is? The heart. How the heart stay? How the heart stay as people of Christ who want to march with Jesus? What is in this heart that you need to take out and dash it and put it aside? I'm a dead stressed out. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to self. We can't fool God. Something happened to my neighbor died a few months ago. She did something and I thought she was very rude. And my children prayed about it, they prayed about it. But when I was going to confront her, my son said to me, Mommy, you need to pray. I said, I'm not praying. So I'm not praying because when I pray, God will tell me something. I wonder, well, this is in my book, I'm going to use our case. Anyway, they said, I need to pray for something with my grandson. And I decided that, alright, we want to figure out. So I sat down my pen earlier. The good thing about the right and computer, I didn't have to work again. And the sun bad. And I wrote her a letter just wanting to find out from her what went wrong when you talk about what you did to the child. So I went to her and I offered her the letter. I'm going to tell her to go in the letter. You jump on her face. You know, my man and father, you try that with me. Jump on her face. I pick up her face and say, so instantly, because it was an elder. Because the weird cross my life. I'm a Russian. Yes, I'm serious. I'm a Russian. But what's it right away? Our house never, the door never handled that door. So we put the children on the way. Right over. My children were embarrassed. And I went in and I cried about it because worked at the Governor General School. Okay? Do you understand? I didn't use tonight. Master teacher, educator, 45 years. Locked behind bars. Because something about you. I said, well, fix the mama can't hear. But just at that times when we have to really have persons around you who will guide you. The guiding force for my children. Yeah? They were the ones who said, Mommy, you can't leave her alone. You're going to start it out. We said, God, I already started it. No, that's a little while. He saw what was in my heart. Yeah? He saw what was in my heart. So guess what? For 1 month or 2 months, the people come here and sing, Change Me, O God. Creating your clean heart. And when you are right spirit, but always sing it between me and you. No, because generally they want to feel. I want to do that this. And one morning I went outside and I have 2 plants out there. When I looked at the plants, one of the plants was rotten from the roots. And whenever anything is wrong, God speaks to me through my plants. Yeah, He does. And when I looked at the other one that I associated with that neighbor because she was the one who picked out the car when we went to the function. That one was shriveled. The other one was rotten from the root. And I went inside and I decided to go and see how it I had to know the little one, and I thought, God, I'm like genuinely asking people who could march for Jesus. Because I got things in my heart. But me I sing on one time, I sing loud enough, play some song and everything, and everybody think that, but it was not right with God. If we were march for Jesus, we'll be clear up in yourself. Psalm 66 verse 8 tell it, or 8 or 8, if you have a, if I regard, Psalm 66 verse 18, oh, it's right here, if I regard iniquity in my heart, and pray the Lord will not answer my prayer. And I'm using this one. It is from Psalm 66 verse 8. I put everything onto God. Put everything to Him. And I prayed, and colleagues, brothers and sisters, in less than a week, the plant that was rotting from the root, meaning rotting up, had new growth. And I knew that things were getting better. Rev called me, Reverend Carlisle called me about January of the year before to say to me, Joe, you're going to preach at church at X time, which was about 6 months in advance. And while the time was coming up, that was during the time I was wrestling with my heart and visitation. I said, well, I called me for my own service. I normally call me out once or so, I said, Joe, 3 days before when I get on conference, I'm calling one day, sorry, one. I might have to preach at church on Sunday. And he said, no, I don't, Joe, I'm not going to do it. I said, all right, no problem. So I'm glad I'm mentally ready. I went to church that Sunday. For those of you who know me at Webster, I wear my vest. Because I direct the traffic and I talk to God and stuff. I love what I say. I've been at this for over 10 years. And I was sitting outside in my vest. And Red preached a sermon that Sunday about Jabez. And he said, if any one of you sitting here have caused pain on anybody, for sorry for the Lord. That was the Sunday I should have preached it. And he repeated it. And I said to myself, I'm causing pain on this lady. Because it's somebody who respected me and who loved me and what have you. I'm gonna say, yes, I know she wrong. You're causing pain on her behavior. He didn't start out. I said, I'm out. And I went home and I called my family together. I said, I'm going over so and so, to do so and so. And my son looked at me and I said, just don't smoke on the against me. Come away, I was I'm going over there. I said, I want to go to your job. And my daughter-in-law came. And I stood there. And God put the words in my mouth. I called the husband up for the wife and said, come on. And I was telling you, if you ever want to Christ and kingdom, you can't try to do God. Because when I try to do it, he showed the common class. Yeah? I'm a face to look like I'm baptized in a building on one time. Yeah, seriously. So, and if you face to something, so where does it match? Yeah, why does it yeah? So I went. Lady was there, our little daughter was there, husband was there. And I stood and I apologized to her. I said, I love you. I'm sorry for what happened. So I said to the little girl, Auntie Joy came over, Auntie Joy was upset. I am sorry. And I said to my husband who was not there, and I did. And I paid like 200,000 dollars. And I stood there, and my daughter-in-law looked at me. And the husband said to his wife, Auntie Joan has done this, there's nothing more she can do. And I walked away. And let me tell you something. The following week, Brilliant called me, the pastor Brilliant, called me to say, Joan, it's son, but we need to come and preach. And I said, God, you see you? You see you? Take me around here, right? You know something about clean. So we couldn't go there and tell people to clean up their ass and never know what happened. I went, and it's like, God just, the floodgates of things or something. She's still not chatting with me. But I kind of I'm praying for her. Yeah. I'm praying for her because she brought things about me. And I said to God, God, I'm praying for me to continue to be steadfast. So creating me a clean heart. And Psalm 51 verse 10 was given to me by my son when he was in college. He went to college when he was about 17. And the boy called me and he said, Mommy, we need to look at Psalm 51 verse 10. And I said to him, why Psalm 51 verse 10? And he said to me, Mommy, when I ask you about a word, you tell me to look it up in the dictionary. You never tell me the meaning, so you look it up yourself. When I looked it up, you know what it is saying? Creating me a clean heart and renew a right spirit. We called the boy and said, excuse me, why am I getting this? He said, Mommy, it's too bitter. He said, Mommy, it's too bitter. Because those days when I kept malice to the constitution. Yeah, Mommy, keep malice smart. Keep malice. Can Sheriff know something right? Yeah, keep malice smart. No, we know something right. And there are people who apologize because God said, no one will march and be like Jesus. So it takes a long time sometimes. And remember that when you're marching as a soldier and everybody else survive. But when you go down, make sure you go down with the word of God. Yes. So, clean up the heart, wrapping up. Clean up the heart, clean up the heart, clean up the heart. God doesn't want any of us to be hiding behind our strengths. Nice to God. God says, women and men of St. John's, you have a purpose. A fork here can be used for several different things. Can use for stir, can use for stick, can use for point. Spoon can use for stir, all kind of things. What is your purpose as children of Christ? What is your purpose in your community? What is your purpose at the workplace? What is your purpose at school when you're online? Yeah? What is your purpose? You're looking at what the other person is doing, and you're not looking at your own strengths? No, man. Develop your strength that God has given you. So guess what? He doesn't want any of us to be hiding and not calling out His word. How many of you call out some of the young men in the community, or the young men in your community, that is sick from the head and need to know them doing wrong and turning a blind eye? How many of you as parents and grandparents sitting here seeing children doing the wrong thing but we can't bother to something like that? Are you all that? What is the legacy you are leaving? So if you are marching for Jesus, you must have called out a young man who you know or a young lady from the mother had the child in his womb, in your room, and you see that picking a grow. Your example supposed to make the people want to follow you. So from them see you, then you know that certain things can be done or should not be done. You cannot hide behind just coming to church on a Sunday morning to get high as a boy because I'm going to preaching and so on and say, well, no, we have to march, look like a soldier, take off our belt of truth and speak the truth at all times. Amen. So guess what? We don't want to live in a story, right? We want to be like this school. So come out. So come out. When you're like this school, you'll be able to serve others. You are a lead soldier in a front. Yeah? They expect to get some people. They're able to be calling out others and say, come we need to do X, Y, Z. We need to remove the border and put our way. We need to start leading by examples in our community so our young people can follow. Yeah? So, know your purpose. Know your purpose. Know your purpose. All in here are gifts. All in here are talents. Know your purpose. Know your purpose. Ask God to clean you. Ask God for you to shine as people march in progress. Ask Him to clean up your little dirty so that person can say, once upon a time, he was like that or she was like that. Yes? God called women, especially when women cry. Those are not God. You know, so get us. Like, and most of our in our country would open our mouths and say what is wrong to our young men. We would not cry my parents to get to them. But most of us wash up the dirty clothes when they come home with bloody clothes. Because we know so we have a man when I work, but he come and do the jewelry. And we must say now work, but he come and change the phone every 2 months. A lot of us think that the name brand thing is it. It cannot be. I walked into a store the other day. My phone jumped in a man's water. I didn't drink man's water, and the phone jumped in a man's water. So I sit down there with it, and they don't say I'm going to manage water. I never was put in a rice and all that stuff. So when I finished on the phone, just wasn't charging. So I took it to a place and I thought they come 50 pounds of the life after the life of the earth. They were also something expensive. So the man told me the price, so you know you're trying to sell it. So I had the phone, and now the phone was fixed after 3 weeks. I got the phone, the case was a little tattered. So I walked into a store with the case, with the phone, and I said to the people in the store, do you have a case to fit this? Yeah, I will tell them what to do. The people must have a lot. And the man said to me, he said, lady, at 20 this enough, at 3 you have. Note 3, then I was at note 3 and they were at note 20. No. He said, I want my camera receiver. I said, here, you have a good day. You don't have to teeth with me and everybody. No. You don't have to go borrow and you talk because you want to leave the limelight. You come down satisfied the way you have. Very important. That's very important. Yeah? Oliver David preached at church one day and he told us that many of us make the sacrifices to get the things we do not want in order to show up on those we do not like. We don't have to do this. So, the heart is what matters. Your posture is what matters. Removing the negativity out of your life. Asking God to fill up your cup. But make sure your cup clean. Yeah? No dregs from past life that is going to mess up the drink. Clean up the cup when you ask Him to clean up. You're outstanding as a person of Christ. Yeah? Go to the front. I pray God's blessings on your lives, my sisters and brothers. No fear to ask God for you. Yeah? No fear to ask. The same day, the same God today, the same God before. Yeah? He's our provider. Believe in Him. March out there as a child of God and give thanks. 24/7. I mean, some people wonder, feel it. Blessings on essentials. Blessings. Amen.
In my cup, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsting of my soul. Be with me till I want no more. In my cup, fill it up and make me whole. In my cup, fill it up and